The tunnels were dark and narrow. Only the soft blue glow from Mainu's skin provided any light as he crawled through the tight space. His small hands were cut and bruised from weeks of digging for crystals. Behind him, his sister Gia followed, her own skin barely glowing as she tried to keep her fear under control. "Hurry," Mainu whispered. "If we don't bring back enough crystals, it won't give us food again." Gia nodded, though her brother couldn't see it. The two Quillian children had learned quickly what happened when they failed to meet their daily quota. Their empty stomachs reminded them constantly. The asteroid mining facility on LX-472 was a place of misery. Since being taken from their homeworld 6 months ago, Mainu and Gia had known nothing but work, hunger, and fear. The Drakari overseers worked all the captured Quillian children without rest. Quillians were perfect for mining the narrow crystal veins that ran through the asteroid. They were small, quick, and their naturally glowing skin meant the overseers didn't need to waste money on lights for them. "I found one," Gia said softly, her thin fingers working a blue crystal from the rock wall. She placed it carefully in the small bag tied to her waist. It was the third one today. They needed at least 8 more before the work shift ended. A sudden bang echoed through the tunnel, making both children jump. Mainu's skin flashed bright blue with fright before he could control it. The glow was a natural Quillian response to fear, a response the Drakari found both useful and amusing. Section 4, Report. The harsh voice of Overseer Kulo bounced off the tunnel walls. He was the cruelest of all the guards, taking special pleasure in punishing the children for the smallest mistakes. "Working, sir," Mainu called back, trying to keep his voice steady. 3 crystals extracted so far." "Not enough," Kulo barked. "Double your pace or you'll both be on cleaning duty in the waste tanks tonight." The children worked faster, their small fingers digging desperately at the rock. The waste tanks were the worst punishment, full of toxic chemicals that burned their skin and made it hard to breathe for days afterward. Hours passed before they finally filled their bags with the required crystals. Exhausted, they crawled back through the network of tunnels toward the central collection area. Other Quillian children were emerging as well, all with the same tired eyes and dull blue skin. In the collection area, the children lined up to turn in their findings. Towering over them, the Drakari overseers checked each bag carefully. The Drakari were tall, scaly creatures with 4 arms and sharp teeth that showed when they smiled, which they only did when punishing someone. "Look at you glowing bugs," Overseer Kulo said with a sneer as Mainu and Gia approached. "Did you meet your quota today, or do I get to have some fun?" Mainu handed over their bag, trying to stop his hands from shaking. Kulo counted the crystals slowly, his yellow eyes watching the children's reaction. Finally, he grunted. "Barely enough," he said, sounding disappointed that he couldn't punish them. "Get your food and rest. Double quota tomorrow." The children hurried to the feeding area, a small room with metal tables bolted to the floor. The food was a gray paste that tasted like nothing, but it kept them alive. As they ate, whispers spread among the children. "Have you heard?" An older boy named Duri leaned over to ask. "A ship landed this morning. Someone important." "Who?" Gia asked, her spoon pausing halfway to her mouth. "A human," Duri said, his skin flashing briefly with fear. "The overseers are scared. They've been cleaning up and hiding things all day." Mainu and Gia exchanged worried looks. They had never seen a human before, but they had heard stories. Humans were unpredictable creatures, sometimes kind, sometimes violent. But why would a human come to an illegal mining operation? Commander Rock was shouting at everyone, Duri continued, saying everything needs to look proper for the inspection. Another child, a girl named Sun, joined their conversation. "I heard them talking when I was fixing the air filters," she whispered. "The human is from some big company. He's here to buy the mine and the workers." "Buy us?" Gia's voice trembled. "Yes," Sun nodded solemnly. And Overseer Kulo told another guard that the human will want only the best workers. The sick ones or slow ones will be. She drew a finger across her throat. Minu's arm went protectively around his sister. They had already lost their parents when the Drakari attacked their colony. They were all each other had left. That night, unable to sleep on their thin mats, the children snuck to a ventilation shaft that overlooked the main hall. Through the narrow slits, they could see the Drakari commanders gathered around a table with a tall figure. The human was bigger than Minu had imagined, wearing a black uniform with shiny parts that might be armor. His skin was tanned, his face serious as he spoke with Commander Rock. Unlike the children's stories of humans with kind eyes, this one looked cold and calculating. As you can see, our operation is efficient and profitable, Commander Rock was saying. The product quality is excellent. The human nodded, his eyes scanning the room. For a terrible moment, Menu thought those eyes looked straight at the ventilation shaft where they were hiding. "I'll need to inspect everything," the human said, his voice deep and firm. "Especially your extraction operations. I understand you use specialized labor for the narrow veins." Commander Rock's scales seemed to flatten nervously. "Yes, we have workers perfectly suited for delicate extraction. Very skilled, very obedient. I want to see them in action tomorrow," the human said. The deep tunnels in Section 4. Menu and Jia looked at each other in horror. Section 4 was where they worked. Back in the sleeping quarters, the children huddled together on their mats. "What will happen to us?" Jia whispered, her skin pulsing with fear. "I don't know," Menu admitted, "but we'll stay together. I promise." The next morning, the overseers were unusually harsh, hitting any child who worked too slowly or looked unwell. 2 sick children were taken away entirely, and no one saw them again. When Minu and Jia arrived at their tunnel, Overseer Kulo was waiting. "Listen, glowing bugs," he hissed. "The human will inspect this section today. You will work fast. You will not speak unless spoken to, and you will not glow with fear. If you embarrass me, I will throw you both into the outer tunnels without air masks. Understand?" The children nodded, too frightened to speak. As they crawled deep into the tunnel to begin work, Jia's small hand found Minu's. "If the human picks us," she whispered, "at least we'll be together." Minu squeezed her hand, saying nothing. He had heard Overseer Kulo talking to another guard earlier. The children who were picked weren't being taken to a better place. They were being evaluated for usefulness. The unwanted ones would simply disappear. Now, as they dug for crystals, every sound from the tunnel entrance made them jump. They worked faster than ever before, their small fingers bleeding, waiting for the moment when the human would come to decide their fate. "It's just water," Ta said. "Look." He took a small sip to show them, then offered it again. After a moment's hesitation, Minu inched forward and took the container. He sniffed it carefully before taking a tiny sip. His eyes widened slightly. "It's sweet," he said with surprise. "It has minerals in it," Tai explained. "It's good for you." Minu passed the container to Jia, who also took a careful sip. In the distance, Tai heard movement in the tunnels. Someone was coming. "Listen to me," he said urgently. "I need to go now, but I'll come back. Don't tell anyone I spoke to you like this. It's not safe." "Are you really buying the mine?" Jia asked, her glow pulsing slightly. Tai chose his words carefully. "I'm here to evaluate everything. But I'm not what the Drakari think I am." He looked directly into their frightened eyes. "I promise I won't let anyone hurt you." More sounds came from the tunnel. Ta looked around quickly and spotted the bag of crystals the children had collected. "I'll need to measure this tunnel system," he said loudly, for the benefit of whoever was approaching. "The extraction rate is impressive, but I need exact specifications." As Kulo's voice called out from the tunnel, Tai leaned close to Minu and whispered, "Tomorrow. Same time. I'll bring food." Minu's eyes widened, but he gave a tiny nod. Overseer Kulo crawled into view, his yellow eyes suspicious. "Sir, you took the wrong tunnel." "Did I?" Tai replied coolly. I found exactly what I was looking for. These two workers have excellent technique. The crystal quality is high. Kulo looked surprised, then pleased. Yes, they are among our best teams. I'll need to inspect this section again tomorrow, Ta said. Alone. I have specialized equipment to measure the crystal density. Of course, sir, Kulo said, though he didn't look happy about it. As Ta followed Kulo back through the tunnel, he looked over his shoulder one last time. The two small figures watched him go, their glow slightly dimmer than before. Not from fear this time, Ta hoped, but perhaps from the first fragile beginnings of trust. Back in his assigned quarters that night, Ta sent a coded message to his real ship hidden in an asteroid field nearby. Confirmed. Child labor. Quillian species, requesting immediate extraction plan. Will gather evidence and location of all victims. As he waited for a response, Tai prepared his equipment for tomorrow. Hidden in his inspection tools were nutritional bars, medicine, and a small device that would help him map the facility without the Drakari knowing. For the first time since arriving at this horrible place, Ta felt a sense of purpose stronger than his disgust. Those children's faces, tired, afraid, but still alive with a fragile hope, would haunt him until he got them all to safety. True to his word, Tai returned to the deep tunnels the next day. This time, he brought a case of measurement equipment that actually contained food, medicine, and small gifts. His heart raced as he crawled through the narrow passage. Would the children still be there? Would they have told the overseers about his promise? Tai found Minu and Jia in the same small cave, digging carefully at the crystal veins. They froze when they saw him. I came back, Ta said softly. Just like I promised. Minu nodded cautiously. The overseer told us you would be here to measure the tunnel. Tai looked over his shoulder to make sure they were alone, then opened his case. Inside were wrapped protein bars, small containers of fruit, and a medkit. I brought food, he said, offering a protein bar to each child. Real food, not that paste they give you. The children stared at the packages, not moving. It's okay, Tai encouraged them. It's not poisoned. Look. He unwrapped one and took a bite. Slowly, Minu reached out and took a bar. He unwrapped it carefully and broke it in half, giving the larger piece to his sister before taking a tiny bite himself. His eyes widened. It's sweet, he said with wonder. And chewy. Jia took a small bite of her piece. A tiny smile appeared on her face, the first Tai had seen from either child. What is it? She asked. It's called chocolate, Tai explained. Children on Earth eat it all the time. Earth is your home? Minu asked between bites. Tai nodded. Yes, it's very different from here. There are oceans and forests and cities. Our home had purple skies, Jia said quietly, and floating islands with singing birds. As they ate, Ta noticed angry red marks on Minu's arm, a burn that looked infected. You're hurt, he said, pointing. May I look at that? Minu hesitated, then extended his arm. The burn was worse up close. This needs medicine, Ta said, opening his medkit. This might sting a little, but it will help. As gently as he could, Ta cleaned and treated the burn, then covered it with a healing patch. Minu bit his lip but didn't cry out. How did this happen? Tai asked. Punishment, Minu said simply. I dropped a crystal last week. Tai's jaw tightened, but he kept his voice calm. The patch will help it heal. Keep it covered. While Minu examined his bandaged arm with fascination, Tai turned to Jia. She still watched him with caution. I have something else, he said, reaching into his pocket. He pulled out a small device the size of his palm. What is it? Jia asked, curiosity overcoming her fear. Watch, Ta said. He pressed a button, and a miniature hologram appeared above the device, a three-dimensional image of Earth, slowly rotating to show blue oceans and green continents. This is my home, Tai explained. Earth. Jia's eyes widened, and her skin glowed slightly, not with fear this time, but with wonder. She inched closer to see better. "It's so blue," she whispered. Todd pressed another button, and the image changed to show a forest with tall trees and colorful birds. "This is called a rainforest," he explained. "It rains there almost every day." For the next hour, Ta showed them images of Earth, cities, mountains, animals, and oceans. With each new sight, the children moved closer until they were sitting right beside him, their earlier fear forgotten in their fascination. "Why are you showing us these things?" Minyu finally asked. "Why are you being nice to us?" Tai took a deep breath. "Because what's happening here is wrong. Children shouldn't be forced to work in mines. They shouldn't be hurt or scared all the time. But that's how it is," Minyu said with a child's simple acceptance of reality. "It doesn't have to be," Ta said firmly. "There are laws against this. That's why I'm really here." Jia looked up sharply. "You're not buying the mine?" "No. I'm pretending to be a buyer, but I actually work for something called the Galactic Rights Coalition. We help people who are being hurt or treated unfairly." The children exchanged glances, clearly confused. "Are there other children like you in the mine?" Tai asked. "In other tunnels?" Minyu nodded. "Many. Some are older, some younger. Each tunnel team has 2 or 3 children." "And do the overseers hurt them too?" "Yes," Jia whispered. "Some are very sick. Some disappeared." Tai felt a cold anger building inside him, but kept his voice gentle. "I want to help all of you, but I need you to trust me, and I need your help to understand this place." "Why should we trust you?" Minyu asked, suddenly suspicious again. "The Drakari said humans are dangerous. Not all humans are the same, just like not all Quillians are the same," Ta said. "Some humans do bad things, but many of us try to help others." He thought for a moment, then reached into his pocket and pulled out a small pendant on a chain. It was a simple thing, a smooth stone with a symbol carved into it. "This was my sister's," he said, holding it out to Jia. "She gave it to me for luck when I left Earth. I want you to keep it." Jia stared at the pendant, then at Ta. "Why?" "Because when someone gives you something precious to them, it means they trust you," Tai explained. "I trust you, and I hope you can trust me too." Slowly, Jia reached out and took the pendant. She examined it carefully, then slipped it inside her tattered shirt. "I'll keep it safe," she promised. Over the next several days, Ta visited the children whenever he could. Each time, he brought food, treated their injuries, and showed them more images of Earth and other worlds. He taught them simple words in Korean and English, and they taught him some of their Quillian language. Gradually, he gained not just their trust, but valuable information. Using a small device hidden in his measuring equipment, Ta mapped the entire tunnel system as the children described it. They told him about the guard schedules, where the other children were kept, and which overseers were the most cruel. "There's a hidden tunnel behind the waste tanks," Minyu explained one day, drawing a rough map in the dust. "Only the small ones can fit through it. It connects to all the main work sectors." Tai memorized every detail. His plan was taking shape, but he needed more time. On the 5th day, as Tai treated a cut on Jia's hand, she suddenly asked, "Will you take us to Earth someday?" The question caught him off guard. "Would you like to see Earth?" Both children nodded eagerly. "First, we need to get you and the others away from this place," Ta said carefully. "It won't be easy, and it might be dangerous. More dangerous than staying here." Minyu asked, his young face suddenly looking much older. Ta shook his head. "No, nothing could be more dangerous than staying here." That evening, Tai returned to his quarters to find Commander Rock waiting for him. "Yes," Ta said firmly, "but it won't be easy. We need to be careful, and I need all of you to be brave and do exactly as I say." He pulled out a small holo projector and displayed a map of the facility. "Tomorrow," he explained, I will officially take control of the mine. During the handover ceremony, my real ship will approach from the dark side of the asteroid. But we need to get all of you to the landing bay at exactly the right time. Tay turned to Mainu. You told me about a secret tunnel behind the waste tanks that connects to all the work sectors. Can you lead the others through it? Mainu nodded, but he looked scared. The tunnel is very small in some places. The older ones might not fit. I can fit, said the older boy who had spoken earlier. I'm Jun, I've used that tunnel before. Good, Ta said. Jun and Mainu will lead 2 groups. Everyone will need to wear these. He opened a small bag and took out what looked like simple bracelets. These are emergency transponders. If we get separated, my ship can find you. He handed out the bracelets, showing the children how to secure them around their thin wrists. What about the guards? A small girl asked, her voice trembling. They'll hurt us if they catch us. I'll take care of the security systems, Tai assured her. And I have this. He showed them a small device. It creates a sound that hurts Drakari ears, but doesn't affect Quillians or humans. It will slow down any guards who find us. Another child raised a hand hesitantly. What about the other mines? There are more children in the lower levels. Ta felt a chill. He hadn't known about other levels. How many? Maybe 10 more, the child said. They keep the sick ones down there. Tay thought quickly. This complicated things, but he couldn't leave any child behind. Jun, he said to the older boy, can you show me on the map where these lower levels are? Jun pointed to an area Tai hadn't mapped. Here, the entrance is hidden. Only the food carriers can go there. Tai updated his plan. All right, we'll need 3 groups now. Jun, you'll lead the main group to the landing bay. Mainu and Jia, you'll guide me to the lower levels so we can free the others. Then we'll join Jun at the rendezvous point. He spent the next hour teaching the children basic hand signals and what to do if they encountered guards. He showed them how to use the transponders to signal for help and the route they would take to the landing bay. Remember, Ta said finally, no matter what happens, my ship will find you as long as you're wearing the transponders. Don't take them off for any reason. As the children returned to their mats, trying to get some sleep before tomorrow's escape, Ta pulled Mainu and Jia aside. Are you sure you want to come with me to the lower levels? He asked. It might be safer for you to go with Jun. We want to help, Mainu said firmly. Those children are our friends too. Jia nodded, her hand unconsciously touching the pendant Tai had given her, hidden beneath her shirt. All right, Tai agreed, but stay close to me at all times. Back in his quarters, Tai sent a final message to his ship, updating the plan to include the additional children in the lower levels. Then he prepared the special equipment he would need tomorrow. First, a small device that would disable the facility's main security systems. Second, a neural disruptor that would temporarily stun any Drakari who got in their way. And finally, a small but powerful blaster hidden in his boot, a last resort. As he lay on his bed, pretending to sleep in case anyone was watching, Tai ran through the plan again and again in his mind. So many things could go wrong. The children were counting on him. If he failed, the punishment for them would be severe. Morning came too quickly. Ta dressed in his businessman attire one last time and headed to the command center for the ownership transfer ceremony. Commander Rock waited with his senior officers, all in formal Drakari military dress. Captain Kim, Rock greeted him, using the false name Ta had given. Today marks a profitable new chapter for this operation. Indeed, Ta said smoothly. I've transferred the first payment to your accounts. Once I've done a final inspection, we'll complete the handover. A final inspection. Rock's scales flickered with annoyance. That wasn't part of our agreement. Just a formality, Tai assured him. I need to check the inventory one last time. My investors are quite thorough. Commander Rock hesitated, then nodded reluctantly. Very well. Overseer Kulo will accompany you. That won't be necessary, Ta said firmly. I prefer to conduct my inspections alone. Before Rock could object further, a junior officer rushed in. Commander, we've detected an unidentified ship approaching from Sector 7. Rock's head snapped toward the officer. What? Why wasn't it detected sooner? It was hiding in the asteroid field. Sir, it's moving fast. Ta felt a surge of alarm. The coalition ship wasn't supposed to approach until he gave the signal. Something had gone wrong. Commander Rock turned to Ta, suspicion growing in his yellow eyes. Did you bring friends, Captain Kim? Or should I say, whoever you really are? Ta knew his cover was blown. He had to move now. Lock down the facility. Rock barked. And arrest our guest here. As guards moved toward him, Tai reached into his pocket and pressed a button on the security disruptor. Immediately, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. What have you done? Rock snarled. Given the children a fighting chance, Tai answered, dropping his businessman act. In one smooth motion, he pulled the neural disruptor from his sleeve and fired, sending Rock and 2 nearby guards crumpling to the floor. The plan had changed. Now it was a race against time. Tai ran from the command center, dodging stunned guards as the facility's systems went haywire around him. Doors opened and closed randomly. Lights flickered on and off. He had to reach the children before the Drakari did, and he had to trust that Mainu, Jia, and the others remembered what to do when the alarm sounded. Their lives depended on it. Chaos filled the mining facility. Alarms blared as red emergency lights flashed. Tai ran through the corridors, dodging confused guards. His mind focused on one goal: reach the children before the Drakari realized what was happening. He reached the sleeping area and found it empty. Good. The children had remembered the plan and already moved. He checked his small tracking device. 20 signals blinked, showing that the main group was moving through the hidden tunnel toward the landing bay. But where were Mainu and Jia? They should have waited for him here. A small blue light suddenly glowed from a vent near the floor. Ta crouched down and saw Jia's frightened face. Quick, she whispered. The guards are coming. Tai crawled into the narrow vent, barely squeezing through. Manu waited on the other side, his skin providing just enough light to see. Everyone is moving, Manu said. Jun is leading them to the landing bay like you said. Good job, Ta said. Now show me the way to the lower levels. We need to find the other children. The Quillian children led Ta through a maze of maintenance tunnels and air ducts. They moved with surprising speed, clearly familiar with these hidden paths. Ta struggled to keep up, his larger human body scraping against the narrow passages. Stop, Jia suddenly whispered. Guards. Through a grate, they could see 2 Drakari guards rushing past, weapons drawn. They're looking for us, Manu said, his skin pulsing with fear. Stay calm, Ta said softly. Remember, they can't fit in these small tunnels. They continued on until they reached a vertical shaft. Minu pointed downward. The lower levels are down there. The sick children are kept in a special room. Can we reach it through these tunnels? Tai asked. Jia nodded. Yes, but it's a long drop. We usually use rope. Tai pulled a thin cable from his pocket. Will this work? The children nodded. Ta secured the cable and began the difficult descent into the darkness, with Minu and Jia following with practiced ease. The air grew colder and danker as they descended. Finally, they reached the bottom and crawled through another narrow passage. It opened into a small cave-like room. What Tai saw there broke his heart. 10 small Quillian children lay on dirty mats. Their glow was faint, their bodies thin and weak. Some appeared barely conscious. These are the ones too sick to work, Minu explained sadly. The Drakari keep them here until... He didn't finish, but Tai understood. The Drakari kept them until they either recovered or died. A small girl noticed them and tried to sit up. Minu? Jia, what's happening? We heard alarms. We're leaving, Jia said excitedly. All of us. This is Ta. He's a human who's helping us escape. Tay moved quickly among the children, checking their conditions. Most could walk with help, but 2 were too weak to move on their own. I'll carry them, Ty decided. He gave each child a transponder bracelet, then carefully lifted the weakest 2 in his arms. Let's go. Their progress back up the shaft was painfully slow. The sick children struggled to climb, and Ty could only help so much while carrying 2 of them. Finally, they reached the top and began moving through the tunnels toward the landing bay. Ty checked his device again. The main group had reached the rendezvous point, but they weren't moving. Something was wrong. We need to hurry, he told the children. They emerged from the tunnels into a corridor near the landing bay. Ty peered around the corner and immediately pulled back. 4 Drakari guards stood at the entrance to the bay, weapons ready. The others must be trapped inside, Ty whispered. I need to create a distraction. He set down the 2 children he was carrying. Minu, can you lead everyone to the secondary entrance we discussed? The maintenance hatch on the east side. Minu nodded bravely. Yes, but what about you? I'll draw the guards away and then meet you there. Ty handed Minu a small device. If I'm not there in 5 minutes, press this button. It will signal my ship to land immediately, no matter what. Ty waited until the children were safely hidden, then stepped into the corridor. Hey, he shouted at the guards. Looking for me? The Drakari spun around, raising their weapons. Ty fired his disruptor at one, then turned and ran. The remaining guards chased after him, leaving the landing bay entrance clear. Ty led the guards on a wild chase through the facility, using his knowledge of the layout to stay just ahead of them. When he was sure the children had enough time, he doubled back toward the maintenance hatch. He was almost there when a blast hit the wall beside him. Commander Rock stood at the end of the corridor, a large weapon in his hands. I don't know who you are, Rock snarled, but you've ruined everything. Those are children you've been torturing, Ta shot back. It ends today. Rock fired again. Ta dove behind a metal container as the blast scorched the air where he had stood. They're just Quillians, Rock said with disgust. Useless except for mining. No one cares about them. I care, Ta said. He fired his disruptor, but Rock dodged. Ta knew he was running out of time. The maintenance hatch was just beyond Rock. The children were waiting. Making a desperate decision, Ta rushed forward, firing repeatedly. One shot hit Rock in the shoulder, making him stumble. Ta tackled him, sending them both crashing to the floor. They struggled, Rock's superior strength nearly overwhelming Ta. Ta, a small voice called. Minu stood at the open maintenance hatch, his skin glowing bright with fear. Go, Ta shouted. Get to the ship. Distracted by Minu's appearance, Ta didn't see Rock's blow coming. Pain exploded in his head as Rock's fist connected with his temple. Dazed, he felt Rock's hands around his throat. Suddenly, a bright blue flash blinded them both. Jia stood beside her brother, her skin glowing brighter than Ta had ever seen, pulsing in a strange pattern. Rock screamed and clutched his eyes. The light. Stop that light. Tay realized that Jia was using her bioluminescence in a way that hurt the Drakari's sensitive eyes. Seizing the opportunity, he broke free from Rock's grip and staggered to his feet. Now, he gasped, running for the hatch. Everyone in. The maintenance hatch led directly onto the landing pad. All the children were already there, huddled together in fear. The sick ones lay on the ground, being cared for by the others. In the distance, Tai could see his ship approaching fast, responding to the emergency signal Minu must have activated. Everyone stay together, Tai ordered. The ship will be here in seconds. But seconds were too long. The door behind them burst open as Drakari guards poured onto the landing pad. Ta placed himself between the children and the guards, knowing his disruptor couldn't stop them all. Stay behind me, he told the children. Commander Rock pushed through his guards, his eyes red and angry. Kill them all, he ordered, starting with the human. The guards raised their weapons. Tai prepared for the worst. Then the sky lit up with weapons fire. Tai's ship roared overhead, its defense systems targeting the Drakari. The guards scattered as energy blasts struck the ground around them. The ship landed smoothly on the pad, its ramp extending instantly. The door opened to reveal a team of coalition officers in full combat gear. "Get the children inside," shouted the team leader. Tai didn't need to be told twice. "Go," he ordered the children. "Run for the ship." The Quillians raced up the ramp, Menu and Jun helping the sick ones. Tai lifted the two weakest children and followed, looking back just once to see Rock's furious face as coalition officers surrounded the Drakari. Inside the ship, medical staff were already tending to the children. Tai handed over the two he carried and collapsed into a seat, exhausted but relieved. Ninu and Jia found him there a few minutes later as the ship lifted off from the asteroid. "Are we safe now?" Jia asked, her small hand finding his. "Yes," Ta said, smiling at them both. "You're safe now, and you'll never go back to that place." "Where will we go?" Minu asked. "To Earth first," Tai explained. "The Coalition has special centers where you can recover. Then we'll search for any family you might still have." Jia's eyes brightened. "Will we see the oceans and forests from your pictures?" "Absolutely," Ta promised. "And much more." The ship jumped to light speed, leaving the mining asteroid far behind. In the medical bay, 30 freed Quillian children were receiving care, many seeing kindness for the first time in months. 3 months later, Tai stood on a beach on Earth, watching Minu and Jia experience their first ocean. Their skin glowed with excitement rather than fear as they splashed in the waves. Most of the rescued children had been placed with Quillian refugee families, but Minu and Jia had no surviving relatives. They had stayed with Tai instead, becoming his wards while the Coalition worked to rebuild Quillian communities. "Is this really our home now?" Jia asked, looking up at Ta with wide eyes. "If you want it to be," Ta said, "or we can find another place. The important thing is that you're free to choose." "I choose here," Minu said firmly. "With you." Jia nodded in agreement, her hand touching the pendant she still wore around her neck. Ta smiled as the children ran back to the water. The path ahead wouldn't be easy. The children still had nightmares about the mine. They still glowed with fear sometimes when they heard loud noises, but they were healing a little more each day. The Quillian children who once thought a human had come to kill them had found not just safety, but a family. And Tai, who had seen too much darkness in his work, had found a new purpose in helping these children build a future as bright as their glowing skin on a happy day.